Have you ever wondered why someone who is no longer part of your life can still occupy your thoughts every single day? That is exactly what we're exploring today. The real reason you can't stop thinking about your ex. Most people assume it means you're still in love. Others believe it's a sign you should get back together. But after listening to countless stories shared by people navigating heartbreak, one pattern appears again and again. The person you're thinking about is often only part of the story. What keeps replaying in your mind is usually something much deeper than the relationship itself. It might be the version of yourself you lost, the future you imagined, or the unanswered questions your mind keeps trying to solve. Welcome back to the channel. If you found yourself replaying old conversations, wondering what you could have done differently, or feeling pulled back into memories you thought you had left behind, you're in the right place. This isn't about blaming anyone or convincing you that your ex was good or bad. It's about understanding how the human mind processes emotional attachment, loss, and hope in ways that are often invisible until someone points them out. One thing that surprises many people is that the mind doesn't separate emotional pain from physical pain as neatly as we'd like to believe. That's why a breakup can leave you feeling emotionally exhausted long after you've accepted that the relationship is over. Your thoughts aren't necessarily asking you to go back. They're often asking you to understand what hasn't fully healed yet. Throughout this video, we'll look beneath the surface of heartbreak in a way that's practical and easy to understand. You'll discover why memories seem to appear out of nowhere, why closure doesn't always bring peace, and why letting go is rarely about forgetting someone. It's about changing your relationship with the memories you carry. By the end, you'll have a clearer understanding of what your mind has been trying to tell you all along. And if these conversations help you make sense of emotions that once felt impossible to explain, I hope you'll continue walking this journey with us, because every conversation here is another step toward understanding yourself a little more deeply. You're missing the feeling, not the person. One of the biggest misconceptions about heartbreak is believing that because you can't stop thinking about your ex, it automatically means they were the love of your life. That conclusion feels convincing because your mind keeps bringing them back into your thoughts. But our minds are far more complicated than that. Very often, what you're missing isn't the individual. You're missing the emotional experience that existed around them. You miss feeling chosen. You miss waking up knowing someone cared about your day. You miss sharing jokes that nobody else understood. You miss having someone to text when something exciting or disappointing happened. When those experiences disappear overnight, your brain naturally connects them to the person who was present, even if the relationship itself was filled with disappointment, conflict, or emotional distance. This is something therapists frequently observe when helping people process breakups. Many people begin therapy convinced they simply need their ex back. As they spend time reflecting on the relationship, they gradually discover that what they truly long for is emotional safety, familiarity, and the version of themselves they were during that chapter of life. The mind often confuses comfort with compatibility because comfort feels predictable, even when it wasn't healthy. That's why someone can miss an ex who made them cry more than they laughed. The brain remembers familiarity before it evaluates whether that familiarity was actually good for you. It keeps replaying memories because familiar patterns feel safer than uncertain futures. This is also why certain songs, places, smells, or even a random afternoon can suddenly make your ex feel vividly present again. Those moments aren't proof that you're meant to reunite. They're reminders that your emotional memory is still sorting through an important life experience. Healing begins when you gently separate the person from the feelings attached to them. Once you realize that your heart is grieving connection rather than chasing one specific individual, you stop asking, "Why can't I stop thinking about them?" and begin asking, "What part of me still needs care?" That single shift changes everything because it redirects your attention from the past toward your own healing. And if these conversations continue helping you understand emotions in ways that finally make sense, I hope you'll stay with this community, where every new discussion becomes another meaningful step toward understanding yourself. Your brain is searching for closure. Have you ever noticed that the relationships with the most painful endings are often the hardest to stop thinking about? Many men assume this happens because the relationship was extraordinary, but that isn't always true. More often, it is because the mind struggles with unfinished stories. Human beings naturally seek conclusions. When something important ends without a satisfying explanation, the brain keeps returning to it, almost like rereading the final chapter of a book that seems to be missing its last few pages. This is why so many men replay old conversations in their heads, wondering if they missed a sign, said the wrong thing, or could have changed the outcome. The search for closure becomes a full-time job that the mind never applied for. In conversations that therapists commonly have with people recovering from heartbreak, a recurring pattern emerges. The people who move forward the fastest are not necessarily the ones who received a perfect explanation. They are often the ones who accepted that not every question in life receives an answer. That is an uncomfortable truth because men are naturally inclined to solve problems. If something is broken, fix it. If something is confusing, understand it. If something ends, find out why. That mindset is incredibly valuable in work, business, and personal growth, but relationships don't always operate by those rules. Sometimes another person's decision is influenced by fears, emotional wounds, changing priorities, or feelings they cannot even explain themselves. No amount of overthinking will uncover an answer that doesn't exist. Yet many men spend months or even years believing the next thought will finally bring peace. Instead, every new theory creates another question, and the cycle continues. Real closure begins when you stop expecting your ex to explain your healing and start accepting that healing is an internal process rather than an external gift. The moment you stop chasing answers from someone who is no longer walking beside you, your mind gradually finds the quiet it has been searching for. It is not forgetting that sets you free. It is accepting that some chapters end without every page being filled. If this perspective is helping you understand your own journey a little more clearly, I hope you'll continue growing with this community, where every conversation is designed to bring a little more peace and clarity into your life. But if unanswered questions are not the deepest reason you keep thinking about your ex, then what is still pulling your mind back to the past? Unfinished emotions keep returning. Have you ever caught yourself feeling perfectly fine for weeks, only for a random memory to pull you right back into the emotions you thought you had already left behind? That experience can be incredibly frustrating, especially for men who pride themselves on staying in control of their emotions. Many believe that if painful feelings return, it must mean they have made no progress. In reality, the opposite is often true. Emotional healing is rarely a straight line. The mind revisits certain memories not because it wants to trap you in the past, but because there are emotions attached to those memories that were never fully understood. Many men are raised to believe that strength means moving on quickly, staying busy, and avoiding emotional conversations. While staying productive has its place, constantly outrunning your emotions can leave them waiting quietly beneath the surface. They don't disappear simply because you refuse to acknowledge them. Instead, they wait for a quiet evening, a familiar place, or an unexpected reminder before resurfacing again. This is something therapists commonly observe. The emotions people suppress rarely vanish. They usually return in different forms, showing up as overthinking, irritability, emotional numbness, difficulty trusting new partners, or even the constant comparison of every new relationship to the old one. The mind has an incredible way of protecting unresolved experiences until it feels safe enough to process them. That is why pretending you are over someone is very different from actually healing from the relationship. Many men mistake silence for recovery. They stop talking about their ex, remove the photos, and carry on with life, believing the chapter is closed. Then months later, a single memory opens the emotional door all over again. It isn't weakness. It is unfinished emotional work asking for your attention. Real healing begins when you become curious instead of judgmental. Instead of asking yourself why you are still thinking about your ex, ask yourself what emotion keeps returning with those memories. Is it regret? Rejection? Guilt? Loneliness? The answer is rarely the person themselves. It is usually the emotional wound the relationship exposed. Once you identify that wound, you stop fighting your emotions and begin understanding them. And that is where lasting peace begins. If these conversations continue helping you understand yourself with greater honesty and compassion, I hope you'll remain part of this community, where every discussion is another opportunity to grow stronger from the inside out. But if your emotions eventually settle, why do some men still feel as though a part of themselves was left behind when the relationship ended? The relationship became part of your identity. The reason some men continue feeling as though a part of themselves was left behind after a breakup is because over time, the relationship quietly became woven into their identity. This is something that often goes unnoticed while the relationship is healthy because it happens gradually. A man begins making decisions with another person in mind. His weekends are no longer just his. His future plans include someone else. His routines change, his habits evolve, and even the way he sees himself starts to reflect the role he plays in that relationship. Then one day, the relationship ends, but the identity built around it doesn't disappear overnight. Imagine a man who spent 5 years with someone he genuinely believed he would marry. Every promotion at work was celebrated together. Every holiday was planned together. Every difficult season was survived together. He didn't just lose a partner when the relationship ended. He also lost the future he had mentally rehearsed thousands of times. Suddenly, the restaurant they always visited feels unfamiliar, not because of the food, but because of the memories attached to it. Saturday mornings become strangely quiet because they once belonged to shared routines. Even personal achievements can feel empty because the person he imagined telling first is no longer there. This is why many men believe they miss their ex, when in reality they are grieving the life they expected to have. The mind struggles to separate the person from the identity that grew around the relationship. Therapists often encourage people to notice this distinction because it changes the direction of healing. Instead of asking, "How do I stop missing them?" a healthier question becomes, "Who am I becoming now?" That question is powerful because it shifts your focus from recovering a lost relationship to rebuilding a stronger sense of self. Every healthy relationship should add to your identity, not completely replace it. When your entire sense of purpose becomes dependent on another person, any ending feels like losing yourself. But identities can be rebuilt, new routines can be created, new dreams can take shape. The version of you that existed before the relationship is not gone forever, and neither is the stronger version that can emerge because of what you've learned. Healing is not about returning to who you used to be. It is about becoming someone wiser without carrying the weight of yesterday into every tomorrow. If this conversation is helping you understand your own experiences in a deeper and more compassionate way, I hope you'll continue growing alongside this community, where every video is another opportunity to invest in the person you are becoming. But if rebuilding your identity is such a powerful step, what is the final change that allows your heart to truly let go and move forward? Healing begins when the story changes. The final change that allows your heart to truly let go and move forward is not finding the perfect person, receiving a heartfelt apology, or finally getting every answer you were searching for. It happens when the story you tell yourself about the relationship begins to change. Every relationship leaves behind a story, and that story becomes the lens through which you view both your past and your future. Imagine a man who spent years believing that losing his relationship meant he had failed. Every memory he revisits reinforces that belief. When he thinks about the holidays they shared, he doesn't simply remember happy moments. He tells himself, "I'll never have that again." When he remembers the plans they made together, he thinks, "That was my only chance." Notice what is happening. The memories themselves are not causing the deepest pain. The meaning he attaches to those memories is. Now imagine that same man several months later after taking time to reflect, grow, and understand himself more deeply. The memories haven't disappeared. He still remembers the vacations, the laughter, the difficult conversations, and the dreams they once shared. But the story has changed. Instead of seeing the relationship as proof that he lost everything, he begins to see it as a chapter that shaped him into a wiser, more emotionally aware man. Instead of asking why the relationship ended, he asks what it taught him about communication, boundaries, patience, and the kind of partner he hopes to become. That shift changes everything because the past no longer feels like a prison. It becomes a teacher. This is what genuine healing often looks like. It isn't forgetting someone who mattered to you. It is remembering them without allowing those memories to define your future. The relationship becomes part of your life story instead of becoming your entire identity. Many men spend years waiting for time alone to heal them, but time only creates distance. Growth is what creates healing. Every lesson you accept transforms pain into wisdom, and wisdom is something no breakup can ever take away from you. One day you'll realize that you haven't stopped thinking about your ex because they suddenly became unimportant. You'll realize you've stopped measuring your future by your past. That is the quiet moment when your heart finally makes peace with what happened and begins making room for what is still possible. If this conversation has helped you see heartbreak through a different lens and reminded you that healing is something you can actively build, I hope you'll continue this journey with us, because every video is another conversation that helps you understand yourself a little more deeply and move forward with greater confidence and peace. In the end, thinking about your ex doesn't necessarily mean you're meant to be together again. More often, it's your mind asking you to understand something about yourself that was hidden beneath the relationship. The moment you stop chasing the past and start paying attention to your own growth, healing begins to feel less like a struggle and more like a journey. Every experience, even the painful ones, can shape you into a wiser, stronger, and more emotionally aware man. Thank you for spending this time with us, and until next time, keep choosing growth over regret and peace over the past.